The following live broadcast is rated ESV We'll do anything. We don't care. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Season 3 of Ear, Shoulder, Voice, our opening show for the season right now. So much has happened since we've taken a break. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on in the news, everything from Valentine's Day, new marriages we got out there, Whoopi Goldberg, the changing M&Ms. It doesn't matter, but we're also going to talk about whatever's on your mind. So if you have anything you want to talk about, that's what we're here for. You guys all ready to do this?
Absolutely.
That's what I like to hear.
Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Where you go, I'm there. Together, always together. Together, always together.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Liffin. Welcome to Ear, Shoulder, Voice once again. It's our open forum. It's our Season 3. We've done so much. We've been excited to get back. It's been a long time without you guys here, so we're happy to have you. But we want to remind you, of course, while you're here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow to Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Very important to have you do that because that's how you get notified of all our shows. You can suggest topics, stuff like that, so be sure to do that while you're here. Just like, share, subscribe, follow. I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to the buttons. Everything's changed. It's been so long, I don't remember where anything is. But I do remember we have a panel to bring in. We always do for our open forum, so let's bring in our first one. Anthony. Anthony, how you doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I am fantastic. So how has your break been going? Welcome to 2022.
Oh, it's been fun.
Fun, that's it? You've done nothing but just fun?
Well, I mean, I've taken a truck back into the shop twice now.
Well, that's a good
The
job.
same
Okay.
thing. Brand new, it's great.
You got really dark over there.
I wanted to turn on the red light for you. Just for you.
That's what we need to do is we need to set the mood early. We need to explain that that's what we do.
Yes.
It's the mood. Anthony is our mood changer right now. He's going to tell you how he's feeling just by the color of the light. And we know how that works.
Whoa! I never said that.
So
A lot
red
of work
light.
to change it back.
Anthony,
And I got up and changed it. Now I don't want to do it again.
Anthony's in the mood, but he's not the only one in the mood with his brand new light. Please welcome our Pac-Man guy, Gabriel. How's it going, Gabe?
Good, how are you?
We love your new light in the background there.
Anthony, you don't have to put on the red light.
I don't. Okay.
Please
Sell your
don't
body
sing
to
it.
the night.
Should we party?
We can always. Oh wow. Okay, see, we've upgraded technology now in the show. I mean, I love it.
There you go.
Oh, there you are. So what's been going on with you, Gabe?
Same thing. Just every possible financial crisis, all within 1 week of, my car, same thing, but the windshield wipers just decided to stop working entirely.
Brandon's
Yeah.
here, says who needs a mood ring?
Because that's good in the wintertime.
And we got BC here. He's like blue light special. Blue light's the calm one. The red light's the one we really go
I
after.
need to get some blues in here.
That's good. So financial trouble's been hitting you though, hard all in the week.
Yeah, it's just been one thing after another.
It just doesn't feel like finances are getting any better.
No,
It's just like it's still the struggle. I don't understand it. People back to work and everything's trying to come back, but finances are still hard as can be. I can't understand it.
Inflation sucks.
Inflation does, and we're hitting like 20 years of inflation in a couple months, as well as wages and stuff like that. But we'll get to more on that in a minute because we got our next panelist. Please welcome back Elena. Elena, glad to have you back here. How you been? You are silent as can be. We can't hear a word you're saying.
she's muted.
Oh, come on, Elena, you broke it again?
Elena keeps breaking her mic. That's just how it works.
Really not hear me?
There you
there
go.
we
Now
go.
we hear
Okay,
you.
there you go.
Now we hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you have had a much more exciting time off than we have, haven't you?
I probably, yeah.
Probably. That's all. Why probably?
I got married 4 weeks ago.
And that's
Yeah.
probably more exciting than financial troubles, doing nothing and just hanging out.
I mean,
Just probably.
maybe a little bit. Yeah, we were in Jamaica for a full week for the wedding, and we got married in Jamaica and then kicked all of our friends and family out and stayed for another 5 days, so that was cool.
So
Well,
let me
that's-
ask you this. You stayed
Yeah.
there for 7 nights?
Yes.
After those 7 nights, were you ready to go home?
Yeah.
Like real bad?
Like, not really bad, but our last night we were eating dinner and then we're planning on going to like one of the shows on the resorts. And like
Right.
during dinner, I just looked over at Brandon and I was like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to like sleep. And so we're ready to go home tomorrow. But
Yeah,
then we had a huge fucking fiasco trying to get home and it fucking sucked. And we were stuck in Atlanta overnight and it was like a big pain in the ass. And when they canceled our flight, we went up to the Delta desk and we're like, okay, like when's the earliest you can get us back to Grand Rapids? They're like, not till Monday. This was on Saturday. And I'm like,
Yes.
that's not going to work for us. What about Detroit? They're like, we could get you into Detroit tomorrow at around 7 p.m. I'm like, okay, I'll try to convince my parents to pick us up and drive us home. And they
Was
did,
it-
so it was fine.
Was it really that hard having to stay in Jamaica though?
Well, it's not that we were stuck in Jamaica. We flew into Atlanta and got stuck there.
Oh, okay. That's what I missed on there. BC says, "Holy shit, we have a good-looking woman on here." Which one?
One
Good to
without
have you back here,
all,
BC.
all the mess.
All right, so let's get into some things that have been happening while we've been gone. Let's start out actually with something you guys have been talking about that I hate. We're going to go into video games for a minute to keep you going. You've been playing a new game, haven't you, guys, over there? You keep talking about it.
We
Yes.
Yes. So which game?
Horizon
Anthony?
Forbidden West.
have. Yes.
Horizon Forbidden West. I want to play that so bad. I'm so jealous of you guys. Love the first one.
Beautiful game.
I'm still stuck on
Gorgeous.
PS4. I'm like ancient.
You can get it on PS4.
No, I don't want to because I want it on PS5, damn it.
It's really pretty on a PS5.
It is really,
Right.
because once you play anything in 60 frames per second, you don't want to go back to
No.
that mess.
So is that like a recommendation? You think everybody should play that game? Everybody I've talked to just loves it.
Yeah, I mean, if you played the first one, for sure, because there's going to be a lot of insight and sort of throwbacks with old characters and things like that that is going to go over your head unless you experienced it firsthand. There's a brief, very brief sort of synapse in order to catch you up from the first game, but it doesn't really.
Brandon says PS5s don't exist, and you can't change my mind about it. I'm kind of on the table with you there, Brandon. I don't think they do either. You don't even you go to GameStop's website; they're not even there. Just used ones that you somehow can't get.
But I have one.
I don't
You
believe
lie.
you. Brandon and I
You
talk
lie.
about this all the time. They literally aren't real.
I don't believe they're real in any way.
And magical.
I think that's one of the issues. We also have BC. Just tell everybody that's him. That is Bill, of course. Bill, we're glad to have you here, at least chatting with us. They will understand. We know you're a horny little pervert. We love you for that at the same time. So much obliged. And fake news. Oh, we're gonna get into fake news already. That's the
Oh.
PS5. Fake news has moved
Can
to
we
the
not?
electronic.
I'll
Don't
leave.
make me turn it.
Industry.
Well, I can't turn it off because it's the game's still running. I had to pause it.
Yeah, I don't
Don't
think.
make me turn it off and bring it here.
Right, I don't think fake news is big of an issue with actually being fake news. It is just the news in general. I'm gonna kick this guy. So, we've taken so many steps back, Brandon. Thank you. It's still fake news. I want to go to some society things that, of course, happened, especially when it comes to TV, the media, and everybody. A little bit cancel culture, but not really. But I'm going to go to, let's start simple, M&Ms. Who knows what's been going on with M&Ms? What do you, who agrees with what they've done with M&Ms? And I think this is good because Elena's probably got a different view than some of us.
Oh, that they made the green one not sexy.
Yeah, she's homely now. I don't know how
think
that
that's
helps sell
fine.
candy.
I
don't-
haven't seen anything about them. I've heard, but I haven't seen anything.
So
I
Gabe's
heard
the king of
Tucker
images.
Carlson
Carlson
Can you pull up a
was
side by
very
side,
pissed
Gabe?
off about it.
Yeah.
Gabe, you think you can pull up a side by side for us? You seem to be able to get those images pretty quick.
Oh,
So he can see what we're talking about with them. Taking away individuality of people and what makes them. Did you see it, Elena? Did you say you saw it?
Yeah, they made the green one not sexy. Now she's wearing like pants and sneakers.
Do you
That's like
think
the only
that's-
difference.
Do you think that's like a good move or a bad move? I mean, a lot of their humor, in my opinion, and the thing you liked about them was the unique identity of each individual M&M. Do you think?
No, and
that
I
was good?
agree. I don't think it was good or bad. I think it's just like I think if you want to put personalities to them, like you're saying they each had their own personality, maybe the green one grew up a little bit and decided she didn't want to be wearing heels all the time.
But they really
know what I
took
mean?
out the only woman allowed to be a woman. I mean, the rest are
I don't think
guys.
she's less of a woman because she's wearing sneakers.
No, but her sex appeal was, I think, part of the group. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying they can't change them.
Yeah.
You can change things and stuff like that. But I sometimes think the reason behind it is what matters. You're not doing it because you want to evolve the M&M's personality. You're doing it to try to appease all groups. Pretty much, in my opinion, that is degrading that a woman can't dress beautifully and sexy, which I know a lot of women like to do.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to throw this. Oh, he had to do it with Tucker in the picture, huh?
Here's the first one up.
All right, so here's our image of the M&Ms, and we've got Candy in sexy shoes, highly offensive. I mean, I don't see how that is offensive. I mean, she looks... Right, yeah, they even covered any shots of skin. Like, did anybody ever look at an M&M and want to fuck a piece of chocolate?
Only
Well,
Tucker Carlson.
I believe we're talking about a
I'm
piece
sure
of
somebody
chocolate.
might have.
I mean, she doesn't melt in my hand anymore, Anna. I agree with that. And it's just, I think it tears it away. And they're doing this to so many things. I almost feel like that it's wrong to be, that it's almost wrong to be a woman. And it's wrong to be a guy. Everybody has to be gender neutral. And it's, I know that they're not, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it seems to me like they're trying to push that. If you have anything that is definitely a woman and sexy, you can't have it. If it's a guy who's definitely masculine, you can't have it. Can't we try to do both? Just because you have a sexy piece of candy, can't people see it? I mean, I had a few dreams about it, but I always dream about candy and chocolate and M&Ms, so that's different.
I mean, the way I look at it.
Sorry,
go ahead, Gabe.
So, I mean, they started it in the first place, right? So, obviously, the only thing about these two images is the shoes. So, either you have hooker boots on her, or now you have sensible tennis shoes.
Well, it's more than the
And
shoes.
tights.
I mean,
There's
I
no
don't
skin
want to
showing,
ever-
Gabe.
there's no
There's
skin.
no skin showing.
They're
But I
not
have
boots, they're
never-
sneakers.
Okay, but so that's okay.
I mean,
But the fact that
ultimately,
we
for
are
me,
talking
both
about
of those pictures look negligibly the
Legs
same.
on a
piece of candy.
round
It's
chocolate.
a piece of candy.
That's kind of what my point is. Did it really make a difference? If you don't really see a big difference now, you obviously were never offended to begin
I've
with.
never noticed these shoes up until this picture.
Yeah.
right here.
Well, and the thing was, so I was looking it up before there was a comparison, and I couldn't tell. I was like, "Is this a new one? Is this the old one? I don't know which one's which."
Well, they
Because
said
I
all
didn't pay enough attention to M&Ms to know that
yeah.
there was.
I didn't eat a
sexy
green
one.
M&M thinking that's a good pussy. I did not in any way.
Jesus.
Brandon says all they did was give her "I'm a good, strong-looking woman" instead of her just being "I'm sexy." But let's face it, if you ever watch some of the previews and the commercials with them, she was kind of a slutty woman, and she liked it. That was the character. She was supposed to be the sexy M&M. I
But
don't
she
think
was-
it's...
But in the chocolate, the green piece of chocolate's defense, she was written
For
more
the male
intelligently,
gaze.
and the three male pieces of chocolate were imbeciles.
Okay. So
In
isn't
most
that
of the
more
commercials
insulting
that
to the
I've
guy chocolate?
Yes.
I was like... Give like the guy chocolate bigger packages, maybe at the bottom of the little M&M, bigger shell holding it, some muscles in the side, maybe a tank top, something like that. Make it appealing. Is that what's
The
missing?
way I take it, if we're personifying candy, is that some
the best
days, some days maybe the green M&M wants to be sexy when she goes out, and some days she wants to put on sneakers. I do the same shit. I don't know, like most women I know do the same shit. Some days I want to look all hot and go out, and some days I want to wear sneakers and go out. Let's let
But I
the
guess-
M&M do it too.
But I guess the ultimate question, as I was even saying, was as we've all pointed out so much, it is candy. Did this
doesn't
matter
fucking matter.
that much to be done?
What,
No, and the only
Whether
person
by
it
the
mattered to was
corporation
Tucker Carlson.
or by people.
What was
the only
the
person who gave a fuck.
Did they
Yeah.
change it and say
Right.
why they were changing it, or did they just change it and somebody noticed?
They just changed it.
And this
They-
I don't
they
think
just
M&M
changed-
like came out with a statement.
They did actually put some. I can't remember what it was. They did put something in an attempt to be more, not politically correct, but inclusive. or something like that.
A
Way to
neutral.
redesign their character.
I mean, the green.
If they wanted to
M&M
be more inclusive,
is
they should have just added
white.
a new M&Ms.
BC says bullshit. The male M&Ms could just eat each other. Brandon says, I don't remember it as slutty. I remember it was just sassy, and she's still like that. She laid across bearskin rugs in some of those previews.
Oh, she
She was
was
definitely
very
she was a
promiscuous.
come hither M&M.
Yeah.
There was one commercial specifically, I think it was a Super Bowl commercial, because that's when their best ones were, like a few
Right.
years ago, where she's in a hot tub and you see her take off her green shell and she drops it and she's just the brown chocolate. Like she was
Yeah.
being
Right.
sexy. However, I do want to put, like, there's a difference between being sexy and being slutty. Like, slutty would be if she was on
Oh,
screen
sorry. Get that back.
having sex with these M&Ms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's
Well-
being sexy,
that's
not
somewhere
slutty.
on the internet.
Well, no, because I mean,
Well, I'm sure
in
it is
fairness,
too, but not in the commercials.
even though it's not really politically correct nowadays, I was to say that. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people in the bars and stuff like that you look and they're slutty. It doesn't mean they've actually slept with everybody, but they're dressing the attire, they're looking the part. And if she strips off her shell, I mean, that's too much for me. I can't handle that. I don't want to see all that deep chocolate inside.
It's too much chocolate.
It's just too much chocolate. BC says, think about Captain Kirk and the green bitches. True, he had a thing for the
So
green
they
bitches.
changed all of the M&Ms then. I just read a little thing. They changed them all, gave some of them pants, gave some of them not pants, kept some the same.
Oh, God, why? Did they need them? They don't have...
They want to be
But
more
the point
Genitals.
was,
Keith.
no one gave a fuck because except for the green one wasn't sexy anymore.
Well, that was the biggest change. All of the other
Okay.
ones you could barely notice.
Yeah.
There, I just looked up. There were two pictures side by side of all of them. The green one was the only one that was the biggest
My wife
change.
was a Jessica Rabbit.
'Cause-
Well,
I was gonna... I
With a
wanted to
change
tell-
of shoes.
Anna, for sure. I can't condemn anybody who uses the Jessica Rabbit reference at all. And she was drawn that way. Now she's been drawn another way. And like I
I'm
said,
still
it's
not
just...
going to eat M&Ms, so it doesn't really bother me.
I still...
You don't
it's-
like
yeah.
M&Ms?
I'm not a big candy person.
Oh, I guess I knew that.
You know, and it's not the first time they've been doing that. And it's just... I don't see what's wrong with being sexy. And I'm not even saying from just a guy looking at a female. I don't see anything wrong with guys being sexy, too. Like...
No, I totally agree. I
Magic
think
Mike or
everyone
anything
should
like
dress
that.
however the fuck they want.
Right, and I don't think it's wrong. They saw like Disney's remake of Aladdin. I don't know, you know, the live action Aladdin, where suddenly Aladdin has to have this fully buttoned up shirt. Jasmine has to be completely covered and wearing this strong. It's a story. It's a story.
it's
It's a
Disney.
timeless story.
Yeah, I
know.
only agree with the change of that is because it's like a children's movie, and like to have it live action and just seeing like real ass tits that your kids are watching, like that.
No,
seems
I
like a
understand
lot. You know
covering
what I
up
mean?
the.
You're going to
Well,
send
I was
a bunch
talking
of
about.
boys through puberty early, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but in Aladdin itself, Aladdin the character, he couldn't even have an open shirt anymore. Like he has
Yeah.
always been drawn ever since, and that's the sex appeal of Aladdin versus Jasmine. They made her more. They had to point out that she was a strong woman, and if you're already a strong woman, to me, it defeats the purpose of learning you can be more. You know, if you automatically change the character to a strong woman already, you'll lose the arc. You lose somebody realizing they were born into this and they're worth so much more. And she did a little bit, but it's just like going to Star Wars movies with Rey. The women are invincible, can do anything, no big deal. I watched the new Scream. And, of course, you have to have every character in that movie be the woman. All the women are safe. All the women are strong. I mean, only one woman died from a previous film. And, spoiler alert, but I'm not telling you who. And all the women had to be this character. And you're like, well, she's a woman. She's not going to die. Even the opening kill, which is not a secret, was a survival kill. She lived through it. Let's not kill the women. The women are strong enough. One of the things about the Scream movies, which we'll talk more in another show, I got another group that wants to talk about it, was the fact that Drew Barrymore died in the very beginning. Anything went. It changed the genre. It made it unique. You know, you never knew who was going to make it. I watch these movies nowadays, and I'm like, well, they're going to make it because they're a strong female character. They won't dare kill them off.
Right.
And like I said, we lose arcs, we lose suspense, we lose more. There's nothing wrong with having them in there, and they deserve to be in there as well as anybody who's transgender or anything like that. But don't force them in there. You know, that's why you already got to be this strong person. Everyone else was a guy, and a lot of movies have been doing it. TV's doing it, and it's like it's wrong to be. I used to say my argument was it's wrong to be male. And Anthony, I know you shared that argument with me. But it's becoming almost the fact it's wrong to be straight female, too. And Elena, you have views on both sides of the spectrum, which is why a lot of times I talk to you. Do you feel it ever goes overboard? Do you think it's too much, or do you think it's all moving in the right direction?
I mean, I do like that a lot of like films and media are portraying more strong women because like I feel like when I was growing up and even when you guys were growing up, we didn't see a lot of that. Like looking back on old Disney movies, every single Disney princess was
Was in
saved by a
distress.
dude.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Except for the first one that wasn't was like Frozen, and that came out when I was in high school. So that wasn't even that
Mulan.
long ago. Yeah, but she only got to do that because she pretended to be a man.
But regardless, that was the first strong
But
female
it's
Disney
already a
princess.
step in the right direction.
Well,
That's
yeah,
my
so
thing,
like
you know. And I agree with you. It's nice to see strong female characters, but we can't kill them. We brought up the Halloween Michael Myers as a homophobe because he killed gay characters. Same issue. Like, you're
No,
not
yeah,
allowed to do that.
I guess I agree in like Disney taking these steps, like
'Cause it's
with
kids.
Frozen
Yes.
and Moana and stuff like that. Like I think that was awesome. I think things more targeted for adults, I don't think it's as necessary. Like in scary movies, because like I agree, in every single scary movie you see, you're thinking about how it's going to end the whole time you're watching it. You're like, well, she's not going to die because
Right.
she's a hot, strong chick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, I hate that for like scary movies and stuff like that. It is just like it's all being too predictable almost.
So I get back to some of the and that's what it is. Like the Scream movie pissed me off, and I'm not spoiling it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but just watching it, I've watched every other Scream movie and said, who's gonna make it, who's gonna die? I have no idea who's the killer, and this movie kind of points it out. You know, because it's pointing out indirectly because of the society we live in. Like, we're not gonna kill these characters, and they forget sometimes that people are already strong women. They don't need to be constantly like in the Scream series. Those who have seen it, of course, Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox were already strong, badass women. They arced every movie to become stronger, and you know, they were female characters that became stronger and weren't going to put up with bullshit. That was their arc in the movies, and now everyone has to be. Well, where's the scared little teens? I'm sorry, scared women still exist. Girls that act girly still exist. It's not wrong to be that way, and sometimes you think you're sending the wrong message that you can't be a scared woman. Because let's face it, one of the things with guys being so masculine throughout all these years, the rule with guys was you cannot be a sissy. You cannot be a wimp. You have to show emotion. So guys took that turn, and now it's almost telling women that you cannot be frail. You must be strong. You must be powerful. You cannot be frail if you choose to be. Do you see that at all? Either anybody?
I think as a society, we just need to stop telling people what they should or shouldn't feel or
Should
how
be.
they
I
can
agree.
and can't act. Everyone should just do whatever the fuck they want.
Right,
Everyone else
yeah.
needs to shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
The biggest
that's-
issue is that everybody wants to be fit into a nice little category that they can sort of describe themselves. And I think that's that's one of the things that's changed over generations is that individuality in a lot of regards it used to be, well, I'm me, I'm different on this, I take everything on a case-to-case basis. I don't like to tell people exactly what I am because that may change. And now, with everything as far as social media and photos and groups and all that stuff, you're really not just telling
Right.
the corporations that can advertise to you what you want and who you are, but you're also telling people sort of this stereotypical thing that you might not be.
Yeah.
But
And I don't want to see us, and I've seen a lot of, I think, society going backwards in the last few years, and it feels like we're almost flipping the roles a little bit. Back to reading some of the comments real quick, because we got a little bit off of the M&Ms, and I want to go back just for the comments, and then we'll get off them again. It says, not that it mattered, got us all talking about it, and we gave them so much free marketing, that's what it's all about. And like I said, it's not that they changed them as much as the reasons behind they changed them, And sometimes going with the gender fluid idea, and because I think they said gender fluid or something like that with him, the green M&M. I think they said something like that. But going to that is not because you really care. It's marketing. And if we do it, everybody's going to talk about it. and as we do too, but we talk about everything. That's what we do on the show. Brandon also says, well, that one is probably more along the lines. I think he's talking about the Aladdin right there. If it's light action, I'd stick closer to the culture. The cleavage wouldn't have been acceptable in the culture at the time. And again, I wasn't talking about her cleavage as much as I was his attire as far as the sexual appeal. Like I said, it's hitting both genders now. It's not just something against women. Men are getting it too.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But like, it's the same thing with like the Anthony said that Jasmine's making young boys hit puberty faster. It could go the reverse way with,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean, with
Yeah.
Aladdin.
I know when I first watched Aladdin, I looked down and boom, hair. It just happened.
Yeah.
It was just like,
A whole new world.
it was a whole new world. Exactly. Bill says, horror movies, the women having sex always dies. That used to be the case, not anymore. You said the new Scream movie was very predictable without giving anything away. Was it at all for those reasons that I was mentioning? Do you think that had something to do with your mindset going into it? Like who it can be, who it definitely can't be. They wouldn't do that to this character, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I was with the Scream series and many other films that are coming out. People have to remember that there's nothing wrong. You don't have to change the world. You just, like you were saying, Elena, like you were saying, Anthony and Gabe, is you got to be allowed to be who you want to be.
Well, you
know?
write for the character on the page. You don't write to fit the narrative or to represent the entire world. You know,
And it's the same with...
when you're writing a cohesive, intelligent story, you can put many characters in there, and it doesn't matter what, what color or sexual preference or anything like that. As long as the character is good and they lead to the plot without pointing out the fact that it's a movie and that this particular characterization is just tossed in here to make sure that everybody's happy,
Yeah.
then it works, you know.
Do you believe you would talk about if they're gay, if they're white, black, color, cultural, racial differences, anything like that? Do you think sometimes by shoehorning these people into movies that they take away from some of the realism of the film? Or TV shows or anything like that? Because that's what I mean. Like, I don't mind seeing different characters. If you've got a white group of friends and one of them's black or one of them's whatever, that's fine. But when you have to make sure that you have 5 groups of friends, every one of them has to be a different nationality or sex to be diverse, does that feel shoehorned? Does that feel like it was just thrown in to be culturally appropriate? Because that's what I think. I look at friends that hang out, and it's not as realistic as the groups I typically see. You might have a couple that are off, but one has to be Asian, one has to be black, one has to be gay, one has
But
to
I don't
be...
think that matters. I think if the source material and the acting is good, then that particular group of people is going to work out just fine. You know, I'm seeing more and more in commercials and things like that. You have representation of sort of more colors and more diversity when it comes to just basic commercials like M&Ms or insurance commercials and things like that. You have black, you have Asian community more, but everybody is more sort of the typical blanket American personality, and that's fine. And that's when it works, when you're not trying to when you're not trying to make that the topic. You're just taking a person, an American, and putting them in the
Okay.
commercial, and then you're good.
That's
It
fair.
doesn't
Now,
matter what they
do
are.
you feel that would have the same effect if reversed? If we did a movie about the hood and made sure that everybody in the hood was white, black, gay, etc. If we did a movie about Chinese culture and made everybody in China either white, black, gay,
Of
so
course not.
okay, then why?
And I don't
is
think
it-
that's what's happening. Like you look at a movie like Straight Outta Compton. It's not like everyone there, like, you know what
But
I mean?
that was
Like there
done
wasn't a
before a
ton
lot of
of
this was
white
happening.
people.
Right. But you also didn't put any black people in Seinfeld.
I'm not saying that there's not problems in there anyway. They should be, but it should be blended in realistically, I think, about the place you're from or your story's taking place or what's happening that makes sense. again, going back briefly to the Scream series, is saying that all the legacy characters pretty much had sex with black people. Well, when Scream came out, that was highly unlikely. They had no black friends to do that with, just because of the family lineage it's showing. And that's why, to me, in that one, it felt shoehorned in as well, because you just want to have these characters in there that look nothing like who their supposed ancestors are, etc.
Well, if you look at a show
Go ahead.
like that's one example. If you look at a show like Schitt's Creek, that came out not that long ago.
Right.
Like their town that they're living in, you didn't see a whole lot of that. And one of the things that I thought was so awesome about that show is that they touched on like the LGBTQ community without making the whole show about that.
Right.
Right, and that
Like
that
they
is important.
created in this scenario no homophobia. Like they didn't talk about homophobia in the entire show.
Exactly.
This character was not coming over that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Can I ask real quickly, Anthony? Do you have an opinion about all this before we go on to something else?
I was going to bring up Schitt's Creek because they did a
They did a good
phenomenal
job.
job with it, right? And you have all these characters who are gay, and you have David who just
Modern
he likes what he
family
likes,
as well.
right?
Right.
Doesn't matter. And it was never made a big deal.
And that is
Yeah.
what I think is more
And
needed.
That's what it
Yes.
has to. That's what has to be done.
Right.
If you're going to introduce characters like this, and be inclusive to all different people, you have to make it in these shows and movies not a big deal.
Right.
Because the moment you make it a big deal, that's when you start creating the divide and the talk of, well, why did they have to mention all of this? They just put a character in,
Yeah.
you let the character do their thing. Everyone is, might not know or understand, but it can be explained. And it's
By
not a
just
big
watching
deal.
the show.
Yeah, and then it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well,
And
one
then
of
more people hopefully will be like, oh, that's what you do? Cool.
an example I can give that I probably nobody here has seen it, but the remake of West Side Story came out, and I don't know if you know the original West Side Story. There was a tomboy in that. It was a girl who wanted to be a boy, so she dressed as a boy, etc. It was fitting. It was unheard of to talk about that when the movie initially came out. And they released the remake, and it's a trans person playing it, which is fine. No objection to a trans person playing this character at all. But in the movie, they're pointing out her transgender. And this movie takes place back in 1960.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be done because you're taking away from the time period. They did not do that. And that's what I mean by shoehorning. We already knew as a transgender playing, we already knew who she was, that she was lost, he was lost, and became
Right.
a stronger character in the end, which was all good. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spoon feed it to me. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me you looked up the dress and saw a penis and stuff like that, which they say in the movie. I loved the remake, but that was something that didn't fit the time period. And
Yeah,
it's
when
thrown
you
in
have
for
to
that.
explain the situation,
Yeah.
instead of just trusting the audience. Sure.
Well, and that it kind of also makes it, if they do that, yes, that was Brandon 100%.
Just
But
I
with
like
the-
wine without the label.
Yeah,
Right.
the tomboy thing, right? If you take a character who is known as a tomboy and make it now a transgendered character,
That's a
it
different
not
story.
okay- but is it not okay to be a tomboy?
That's the other thing too.
Right?
Was it not
Like,
wrong to just be?
If you're a tomboy, are you trans? Because if
Right.
you, it could give mixed messages when you have a character that's already been created, as a
Established,
known
yeah.
character. Yes,
Sure.
and then changing that character, it could cause people to just bring up things like, well, what? So if I'm a tomboy, does that mean I'm transgendered now?
And that was my fear with like what I felt like they're doing to women and men. A woman can't be sexy. A man can't be, masculine. A tomboy can't be a tomboy. There's got to be something more. And I'm going to be honest, still to this day, I do not get trans. I don't understand it. And not that I disrespect it, but I don't, because somebody says trans, it covers such a plethora of things now. I don't know what exactly you mean when you
Yeah.
say that.
And that's the thing.
know.
When you categorize every
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
instead of just letting the character on screen to the sort of, not necessarily mystery, but they're a tomboy. You know that they dress that way for a reason. So come up with your own summation.
And we do
of
have a
the-
show
of the
coming up
character.
that's going to focus on transgender. We got a couple trans people that are going to be on the show to talk about it, who are willing to. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I think it's just as evil to them that they're being grouped.
Right.
They're Wait, what were you gonna say, Gabe?
No, and that's what I think too. I think there's many different decisions you make when it comes to your lifestyle, on how to live comfortably, in that situation, and what you feel comfortable in your skin with, and it doesn't fit in one singular character,
Right.
you know.
And that I think is where my biggest problem with the whole thing comes from. And I don't mean ever disrespect to anybody like that, because your choices are your choices. But now, once I used to be somebody could say I'm trans, I knew exactly what it meant.
Right.
But now trans doesn't mean you've changed your parts. It doesn't mean you have. Doesn't mean you haven't. Doesn't mean the top's good. Doesn't mean the bottom's good. Doesn't mean you're male. Doesn't mean you're female. It's just trans. It's literally like saying gender neutral, I feel like, when people say it, because I don't know what it means. Elena, you're looking very stern. What's your opinion?
I just think that using the term trans is like a blanket statement for a lot of people.
Right.
I think it's easy for them to just say, "Oh, I'm trans," than for them to tell you, "I have a dick in my pants." Like, I don't
Well, I mean,
think
I know
that's
they don't
really
want to.
appropriate
But
in a
we
lot
could,
of situations.
yeah.
And I
And
feel like unless that person that you're meeting for the first time you plan on having an intimate connection with, I don't think it's any of your fucking business. So
you
I
work
think
in a
it's
bar,
just,
so most people meet that way, though.
well, yeah, and that's
So,
fine. But I think that people just saying I'm trans, it's a nice, easy blanket statement for them without having to be like, oh, I used to be this, but I'm really this, but I haven't done X, Y, and Z yet. I think it's just an easy statement for them.
that
And
makes
I
sense.
don't,
I get that.
yeah.
I mean, like, even going back to me, who, as I've been described, again, I guess demisexual or whatever, I used bi as a blanket statement.
Yeah.
I was not bi, but that was my blanket statement because it was just easier for people to understand. But at the same time, I felt people didn't know me using that statement because it's not really what I am. It's just the thing they understand.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that sometimes it's harmful to them as well, because they're not really expressing what they are. They're just like, I'm trans, shut up, because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to try to explain this all to you. And I think there's got to be some kind of narrowing down just so people understand. Because let's face it, some people are going to meet a woman and they're going to want to not take them home and find a penis, or vice versa. And I think there should be something to more clear
Right, and
identify.
I understand that, but I don't think any trans person would put themselves in harm's way and get it all the way to that person's house.
Right.
Thank you.
Liz
I don't think
does
that
say,
I don't think that that person would get all the way to someone's house to have a surprise in their pants and then put
Right.
themselves in danger. I don't think that would ever fucking happen. Like, in the
I'm
whole
viewing
world.
this. Liz says, why does it matter what they have in their pants? And I agree with you. It doesn't matter, because that's no different than a guy having a small dick or a big dick. Why does it really matter if you like the person? You should bring them home, but it endangers them. I feel that sometimes they're endangered because of it. And again, I'm speaking from a bar atmosphere, working in bar all this time, that if you just start flirting with somebody and you've got your redneck hick guy at the end of the bar who just doesn't give a shit, finds out you're trans, it's not the trans person's fault, but they're endangering themselves. By not doing that, or if they reveal it at a later time, some people don't act right towards that. And those people don't belong, but there's nothing we can do to remove them at the time.
Right, but I don't think that trans person would be giving this redneck person the time of day. I don't think that would ever be an issue. I think they'd just be like,
Well,
I
that
don't
was
think you're going to
exaggeration
like
on the
me for
person.
who me. I'm going to go talk to someone else.
But I agree. I do agree with Liz that it really doesn't matter what you have in your pants. But again, my argument on that is just that I feel they can't express truly who they are because they're trying to take the easy way to not have to explain or say it. But I think they want to say it sometimes. At least some of the
And
trans
some people do,
I
and
know.
those people
Yeah.
express themselves in that way.
I feel like, from my experiences, most of the trans people that I've met present as either male or female, which is easy enough for the average person to identify them with most likely their preferred pronouns from the start,
Yes.
right? Most trans people you meet, they're going to either present as a male or a female, and you get a ballpark of what you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
To get by in most social instances, right? It doesn't matter what any of under the clothes looks like. But for just basic conversation, especially with all the confusingness of all these bajillion pronouns that keep coming out, it's difficult when you meet someone who's a trans and is presenting as a male but wants to be called she, her.
That
Right.
I will admit, I have a little bit of a problem with that
it's
sometimes.
difficult because even
It's
though
not wrong.
even though you're fine with it, right, and
Yeah.
you've heard it,
It's instilled.
when you see someone presenting as a male, out of just instinct, you're going to use the male pronouns, right?
And you continue to use those after they correct you?
But we're not going to get into the pronoun game again. We've been here
Not-
before.
It's,
But
it's
ac-
not on
not
purpose,
accidentally.
but
Liz-
like
No, I know, but if that
Also
person
says-
feels comfortable to say, "Oh, I
Yeah.
actually prefer she, her pronouns,"
it's
in
not always
fair-
that easy though. Like you
I've got a
want
friend-
you want to use
Can
the
I s-
preferred pronouns because that's the respectful thing.
Can I say real quick? I
Yeah.
got a friend who I'm not going to do their name, but they're trans, and they look very much like a guy, and they go by the pronoun she. And when I talk to her, a lot of times, and the name is even a masculine name. It's so I'll say that. So it seems like it's a guy, and I constantly am correcting myself. But she understands. She's like, I understand. It's good. The thing is, a lot of people don't. And I think that's the argument people have. And I've known her for a while now. I'll go up, hey, and I'll just like, hey, good to see you, man. Just out of instinct, not to be rude, and I'll correct myself right away, and she's good with it. And most of the time, I'm good with it, but sometimes it's instinct. And the problem is I think it comes from the people who don't react that way, who don't say, I understand, it's okay. And
well, I
some
also
people
think
get
there's a
very
problem with on people's like day-to-day lives that are trans or are non-binary, is that they'll correct someone and be like, "Oh, I actually use they pronouns," and then the person they're talking with just completely ignores them and keeps moving
Yeah.
on and
Right.
And
So
there is something to be
misgendering
said
them.
for learning
Like-
as well, yeah. Because we
Yeah,
got to
and I
learn
have
too.
I've seen a lot of experiences of that.
I have a friend at school who's actually
personally.
non-binary, and I have a lot of my classmates. It was the first non-binary person that they've met, and they use the incorrect pronouns all the time.
Yeah.
And my friend would always just be like, "Oh, just remember, I use they them," and like
And
they're
in
very
those situations,
respectful.
And
They
that
don't
I
even-
think
they
is
don't try
perfectly
at
right
all.
and okay, and that's great as
No,
long
yeah.
as the person you're talking to is
However,
trying.
Yeah. However, we have a lot of different classmates that just continually misgender them. I've been in the same class since the middle of June. I feel like it's inexcusable to keep misgendering this person.
Right.
So now
It's
when
like
I'm in
calling somebody the
conversations-
wrong name, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now when I'm in situations where someone's just like, "Oh, so and so," talking about our non-binary classmate, misgendering them, I correct them even if they're not around. I'll be like, "Oh, you mean they." Just to try, like, because I feel like they're not trying. It's too late for it to still be a slip up, in my opinion. It's
Right.
been fucking months.
Yeah.
You've known this person for fucking months. Now you're just being an asshole. You're not trying.
I agree with you there when you've known it, but I still do sometimes just good to see you because sometimes it literally is instinct, and I will correct myself right away. Most of the time I don't, but it's lines I've always given, and unfortunately this person also looks exactly like a guy I grew up with, which does not help. But
Well,
I
it sounds
respect
like
her
you've
in
known
every
this
way.
person. It sounds like you've known this person since before their transition too.
No, I did not,
Oh, okay.
but looks just like somebody I knew.
Gotcha.
Identical with the same name. So-
And a slip up's different than
And that's what it is.
intentionally. Yeah,
Exactly.
intentionally.
But they're good about
using
it,
the
and
wrong
that's why I
pronoun.
just don't understand all the anger given out to some people. But I also understand, like you say, Elena, they deal with it so much that it's frustrating. Like, I mean, I've got long hair from the back. I might look like a woman sometimes, and I would get frustrated all the time. Just people coming up saying "ma'am" and stuff like that. So I get that 100%.
Well, and my school is completely horrible about it too. They refuse to call them by their name that they go by, and they're only calling them by their birth name. They refuse to get them a name tag by the name they go by. So I actually had Brandon 3D print one for them that looks just like all of our name tags, but has their name on it.
Good, and I think that's
And-
important.
And
'Cause
like
you
I'm in a
can
part
be-
in school.
Going back to Liz really quick, because I want to get to these comments really quick. I said I don't think the kind of trans person is going to gravitate towards, which I agree with. I was just saying in certain situations that can happen. In turning with the redneck, it's us to make sure that they are no longer in anger, and the hick is now the odd one out. Unfortunately, bars are a lot of bars are segregated groups. You know, you've got a hick bar, you've got a
Yeah, but
rap
I think
bar,
that
you've got a country bar.
people in those communities are not going to those types of bars typically.
No, they're not.
or they're
But
being more
sometimes that's
careful
your
if
local
they
bar.
are in those situations because they may not.
And they don't deserve to be denied going to a bar if that's the only one they have in the area. Just because
No, I
you're born
know.
in the South or born in Kentucky or Texas or anything like that doesn't mean you just can't go to a bar because they're redneck hick bars.
No,
'Cause
and
you
I'm not saying
decided-
they can't.
Yeah.
I'm saying they don't normally do. They don't
and
normally.
that's
Because
where
it's
I
like
fear
everyone
for 'em.
there's gonna hate me, so I'm gonna go to the next town over.
And when I
go to
say
that bar.
fear, don't get me wrong. When I say fear, because most trans people I know kick the shit out of anybody I know, else I know. So I don't think they can't take care of themselves. Believe me, most of them definitely can. So I don't mean it that way. It's a really hard life, and I wish people understand. But I want to get to a lot more of that when we do our trans show, which will be coming up in a few weeks. Liz also says trans women don't owe anyone femininity, and trans men don't owe anyone masculinity, which I 100% agree with.
Amen. Everyone
Normal-
should just
completely agree
be
with
whoever the
normal
fuck they
men
want
and
to.
normal women don't owe it to anybody
Even
either.
not even take trans out of that whole equation.
Right,
Women
just
don't owe anyone
People
femininity, and men don't owe anyone masculinity.
anybody anything.
Tell that to
You
Tucker
owe
Carlson.
everybody
please.
yourself. You owe everybody to be who you are deep inside.
Yes.
That's what you owe the world, is to be yourself, because that's the only way you're going to be happy. And sometimes even if we have these conversations, I like to think they're kind of neutral, but they're kind of at the same time pointing out differences with other people. That makes it a hard world for people to live in. That's what makes it hard. And we have to also, you do owe to be yourself. We have to learn to be accepting of all these people as well. That we make mistakes, but as well as the other group has to be accepting that people make mistakes. We just have to realize who we are inside, how we were raised, what we did. Sometimes we make mistakes, and we don't want to offend you, and we don't want to hurt you. We're just human beings, and you do owe the world being yourself. Back to Brandon's comment. That was supposed to say danger, not anger. I'm sorry, they're no longer in danger, and the hick is now the I went on. Okay, that makes a little more sense, so I appreciate that. All right, so let's move on a bit from the trans thing. We know how most of us feel about it. I do wish that things could get easier for these people. I think it's important, and I think it'd get easier for people who are just not used to that culture as well to somehow appropriate to it, and it's a hard step as well.
Just
Yeah.
again, just put it in normal things. Every single with commercials and stuff like
And
that.
it should be allowed, but it doesn't have to be.
It's
Well, like Liz
in
said,
the
and I want to
ether,
go back
you know?
to what Liz said here, because she says trans women don't owe anyone femininity and trans men don't owe anyone masculinity. The TV shows, the movies, and the culture, I think, are pushing that like they owe us an explanation. And
I would
that's
agree,
where
yeah.
I have the problem.
Right.
You don't just have them there doing their thing, being a human being, and people will respect it more. They're not going to feel over attacked or too
Right.
much in it, or you've got to point this out and message.
Yeah, I
That's
do
what I'm
feel like
saying.
TV shows and stuff are like they're trying to make everyone explain themselves
Exactly.
instead of that's not how it is in the real life.
Have you
That's-
guys seen Sex Education?
Yes,
I love
Like
that
2
show.
episodes.
I love that show.
I haven't seen a lot of it. I have seen
That
it. I thought
show
it was a
is
pretty good show.
so good.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because
Did
these
you learn a
kids,
lot?
They're high school kids. I don't learn shit. I'm old. I don't learn anything. But these high school kids, it's pretty much like this one kid. His mom's a sex therapist, and so he ends up being a sex therapist for high school kids. And some kids, I'm trying to have sex with my girlfriend. Finds out he's into dudes. A chick finds out that maybe she's bi, maybe she's this, and it flows without ever making an issue of anything.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
feels
just,
natural,
hey,
and that's what I think's
whatever you
missing.
are, you are. Embrace whatever the hell's going on with you. Be yourself. Fuck everybody else. And
He's right with the
it's
show.
A good
He's
show.
right. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. And that's what I mean. That's the kind of show that I think helps more than saying, hey, look at this. And creating, like I said with West Side Story, there was a movie called The Prom that came out that had a trans. And the news story is that it's a trans character.
Yeah,
Do they
but
really want to be
it's-
singled out?
It's the same
No.
thing as this Tucker Carlson.
There had to be
It
part-
goes
yeah.
back to the Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
You're just trying to. It's detrimental to the cause when you are constantly having to point out individualism instead of just letting it be an organic process.
So, I agree. On this show, some of us have been wrong. Never me, but you guys. have been wrong before in our views. No, it's been me too. Everybody can be wrong.
Can I
Everybody
make a really
mistakes.
quick statement?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Elena.
I just wanted to point out that like the people's body or sexual orientation or anything like that, like that's the least interesting thing about people, and like
Right.
people making it the main focus in some of these shows and movies
Right.
is like ruining it, because
Yeah.
like my
That's-
sexuality and how I look and how I portray myself is the least important thing about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still who you are. You don't need to know.
I'm
those facts.
still
You don't
who
need
I
to know
am. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like what I look like, who I sleep with, least important thing about me.
I think it would be more empowering for a gay character, trans or bisexual character to get a role in a movie, play that movie out, and nobody knows. You know, the world didn't have to know prehand. I think that's more empowering to them that they're fitting in than having everybody point out what they
Yeah,
are.
like
and how they
not
got
like
the role.
nobody knows, but like let's say there's a movie
You know what I
with,
But
like,
I
a
mean,
gay
just because you
yeah.
watched the movie, yeah.
Yeah, a gay character, and
Yeah.
like he goes home to his husband, and like the whole movie does not have to revolve around he being
Right.
gay. He just happens to be gay because who
Or
the fuck
anything.
cares?
Right. Exactly. Yep. Organically. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's what's missing. Again, as I said, we've been wrong on this show, and recently I want to let's get to Brandon's comment before I continue. I feel like if they made a commercial where Green M&M just went off a shopping trip and was hyped about a new outfit, that would have gone over fine without the press release.
I agree.
It probably would have, yeah.
So, do you think it was intentional?
Oh,
Do
it
you
was
think-
totally
Do
intentional.
you think Tucker Carlson was trying to find,
But I
or
don't
trying
think
to
so.
get revenue?
The thing is
I don't
what we
think literally
see-
any singular human on the planet gave a fuck except for Tucker Carlson. I don't think any of us would have even known it happened
No,
unless
I
Tucker
don't think
Carlson
that's
had
true.
been like,
Well, no.
she's not sexy
Because
anymore.
I believe a lot of
Tucker's just
times
a
this
loud
happens
person.
because somebody from a far side, either side, a far side bitches and complains
Yeah.
about it, and that's what pushes them to do it. You know, we're back to the point of having one person speak for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reasoning I think Tucker Carlson got on it is because M&M made a press release saying we're changing it to be more inclusive. If they would have just done it and not said anything about it, not made a statement, not said we're trying to be more inclusive, what does putting tennis shoes over heels have to do towards inclusivity?
And people's anger at that, I kind of get it a little bit. It's not necessarily right to be angry, but I kind of get it. Because they feel like the world is being changed by those around them to prove a point. They're not seeing it as just this little change. And that's how they feel. Like they're losing the world they grew up with. And that's a hard thing for anybody,
But how
even on
long
this
it-
panel, to face.
Sure. But how long has Green M&M's actually been back? Like 10
15,
years?
20 years?
15 years?
Yeah. I know
Who
they've been-
cares? It's fucking chocolate.
I know. I agree. So I want to bring up, does anybody know the story with Whoopi Goldberg on The View?
No.
Okay.
Enlighten me.
So, yeah.
Yeah, she tried to play it off.
Right. Well, she didn't. She was on The View at one time. They were talking about the Holocaust. This was recently. This was back in like January, end of January. Maybe it was early this month. I don't remember the exact date. And she said something about the Holocaust. She said the Holocaust was not about race. It was about power and being the ultimate. She very much misspoke her words because the Holocaust was clearly about race, etc. And then it was explained to her. And it took her a few days to kind of get it, and she came out with her apology and stuff like that. Said, "That's not what I was meaning. This I understand that it was. I was trying to explain the power that things have been going on wrong, and she was wrong." So they give her a fucking time out. They cut her out of a show. They say, "You can't be on here. You're suspended for a period." Where do we get to the point of giving adults timeouts?
Because it's The View.
Yeah.
Even not, well, The View, it is literally the title of the show is The View. It is your viewpoint. You can be wrong.
No, but you have to have the same viewpoint as everybody else.
How come
You cut out.
You're chopping up.
Yeah, he chopped up really quick. He'll probably be reconnected in a minute. So, but I'll ask while we wait. Okay, you hear that? Can we hear you, Anthony?
I
One
could
froze.
hear you the whole time, so if I chopped
Yeah,
out, I didn't
you
see
froze.
any of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
You froze. So you're back. So what were you saying? The view had to be the view of.
The view has to be the same view for everybody. If someone on that show has a different view, they are shunned and it, so
Yeah, it's still cutting out.
that
But I think I get exactly where he's going with that.
Right. Well, the point is, your boy's taking off his shirt back there.
Free show.
Yeah. So, she made a flip.
How to dance like that.
A lot of people got pissed off about it because she generalized the Holocaust, sort of putting, a lot of people were angry because they thought they were putting that she was putting Nazis in the same characterization as Jewish people and just calling them all white. Like
Right.
it wasn't a race-related thing because they're all whites. So that's why a lot of people were getting pissed off about it.
All right. Welcome back, Anthony.
But, and
See,
that's
that
what
makes
she
a
was
difference.
clarifying, is that she was trying to say it wasn't about race, it was about power. It was about control of Aryans and the Aryan society, instead of about the Nazis versus Jews. Because, Aryans thought everybody was below them.
Which they did, and it was totally about race, just not. And I think what Whoopi was saying was because she was a black person that it didn't equate to direct race as a color, and didn't realize that, and wrongfully didn't realize that race does not directly refer to your color. There's a lot of things that do. Brandon says they'll find something to complain about either way, though. People on the far side of both sides will always
Yeah.
nitpick.
But it's too much of everybody just canceling everybody. Everybody wants to destroy everybody. Bill Maher commented, because she was commenting on Bill Maher, because
Yeah.
Bill Maher said something. And then they wanted to cancel her because of Bill Maher. And everybody's
this-
trying to cancel everybody. Everybody's out to
Canceling
destroy
everybody.
This is the
everybody.
reason why I think shows like this are important, and the show we do is important, because you should be able to talk real. You should not have to conform to what everybody else tells you to say and be scared of getting a timeout or kicked off your show or something because you're saying something that it was inappropriate to say, but it was not an intentfully evil thing to say.
Right.
It was not meant to actually dig at anybody. It was wrong. She misquoted. She made a mistake, and believe me, she deserved the flack she got, but you do not deserve to be kicked off and put in a timeout and punished and put in a corner until you learn your lesson. You come out, and they've been doing it with other people too, whether it go from Roseanne,
Rogan, yeah. Everybody.
Joe
the
Rogan.
biggest thing is no anymore. It's a meeting. If you
Yeah,
say
he-
something, no matter what you're saying, it doesn't mean anything.
Can't understand.
Yeah,
a
we
word.
can't. You're still cutting up pretty bad.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, is it 'cause I'm singing like
Gotta get the
Anthony,
AOL
try to
fixed.
call back in on your phone. Like
Usually
without your
Anthony's
Wi-Fi.
got a great connection.
Yeah.
This
Bye,
just doesn't seem to be a
guys.
good one for him. But I'm seeing a problem with that too. It's like you can't be an individual. You can't
Right.
have a different opinion. You can't, you can't make a mistake. You cannot hear something and not understand what it means, and you're trying to incorporate it in the conversation because it's relevant, and because you made a mistake and didn't understand it, you cannot be punished like that for it.
Would you
It's-
ever
I
want to be
agree.
a celebrity? Would you ever want to be a celebrity?
No,
No.
not at this point.
Never.
But like Keith, I agree with like what you're saying, but at the same time, what you're describing is a world of actions without consequences.
Well, no, because action without a consequence, if you do something intentionally inappropriate, that deserves consequence. And going back to the Roseanne thing, which, I hated that she was kicked from her own show, she's a total character, but she actually said something to be mean with the intent of hurting and insulting another human being. What Whoopi did was not with that intent. It was a mistake because she didn't quite understand what she was saying. And having a little bit of limited education on that is not a reason to be kicked, because it's a reason to learn.
No, but don't you think it should have been an issue where she would have to
Blue Man.
like what am I trying to say? Don't you think that she should have had some sort of consequence for not fully researching and stating her, like, coming up with something to say that was a intelligent way to come across of how she felt. Like, don't you think there should be some sort of consequence for that?
But look at our conversation right now. If we're talking about a topic and we think we know something, we may say something that is uninformed. We may think we know what we're referring to. We don't. We don't deserve to be kicked off this show, not brought back, or given a break because we said it, because we made a mistake. We do deserve to learn from it. And there's a huge difference, in my opinion at least, from making a mistake because of something you thought was true and were wrong about versus going out and saying, insulting somebody or calling somebody
But again,
stupid N or a monkey, as Roseanne did on that. And it's not just those are just two examples I'm using on there. Whereas one was deliberately hurtful and insulting. Yes, you deserve consequence for that. But the other
People
one,
don't look at intent anymore, though, Keith, which is what I was trying to say.
but
Yeah,
they
people
try
don't-
they
people
try
don't listen to
project
intent.
your intent.
Yeah, they
project
hear
your
the
intent.
words and they decide what you intended by that
Exactly.
for you.
Texting has
And
a lot of fault
that
because
happens
of it.
all the time nowadays, where if you say something, it might not be a bad statement. You might not have said it maliciously, but because someone could take it maliciously, you're an asshole, you meant to hurt their feelings, and now you're getting canceled.
Elena?
No, I think that if you fully, truly think like Whoopi, that's not what the fuck I meant. I think that she should have just stated a very sincere apology and that they could have moved on. I don't think she should be canceled. I don't think. How long is her time out for?
She's back.
Do we
She
know
came
that?
back, I think, last week.
It was a whole week.
So just a week?
Yeah. Wasn't that long, but it's a lot of
That's
shows.
not even that long.
But
it's
still, you don't
it's
need to be
pointless.
suspended
It's
from your own
pointless.
show. You don't need to be treated like a little kid going in a corner because you made a mistake. She did give an apology. She even tried, and she fucked up on Bill Maher, and I think she was on another show, and she did it too, where she said, was it
But did
Fallon
they
or
work
something
it
like
out?
that?
Because I didn't. That's the thing. It's like I didn't even see it. So everybody's having this conversation about Whoopi. I guarantee most of the people haven't even seen the entire View show. When it could have been resolved within 30 seconds,
Right.
and then somebody else brought up some shit, and then at that point she was suspended after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think.
But do
I
you-
mean, I'm sure what she said really, 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 really didn't sit right with a lot of
Obviously, yeah.
fucking people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if she truly, truly, truly realized, oh, I totally understand why you guys think
Right.
I said that, or why you think I meant that. That's not what the fuck I meant. I'm so fucking sorry.
Well,
This is what I actually meant. I think that should be fine.
Brandon says, well, ignorance isn't innocence. Leniency is always fine. There needs to be a line. Well, it's not like she's, you're right, but it's not like she's George Carlin. It's not like she's Andrew Dice Clay. It's not like she does this all the time. This was, that show is centered around views and opinions.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
don't you
centered
think
around
if she
learning.
wanted to talk about something as big as the Holocaust, she should have carefully chosen her words?
I don't
Well,
think
you
from
would
her
think,
point of
but
view.
she's
but
on The View.
Sometimes you're on something, you just don't think about it. It's just like any other show.
It
It's
is
not
The View,
scripted. You don't know what's coming up. It is your viewpoint, and she constantly tried to kind of back up what she said and explain it, but her words were not coming out appropriately. And what she said was wildly inappropriate. It's true, but she was trying to say, I don't mean it wasn't about that. I just mean it's not. What she was trying to say, which I understand, was you didn't walk down the street. From her point of view, people see you're black, they treat you different. When she was referring to the Holocaust, you didn't look at what she was saying was a white person and know immediately if they're Jew, if they're a member of the Third Reich, whatever. You don't know. That's what
Right.
she was saying. It's
And
not a
that
visual thing.
comes to
But it came out
ignorance of-
so wrong
Of history.
because she equated visual race with race.
Right.
And that was the mistake. And she constantly in her apology said, that's what I'm trying to explain is because as a black woman, I'm sure she feels that way a little bit too, that people look at her, they see her that color, and the Holocaust wasn't the same because somebody couldn't walk down the street, like they could back in the 50s or 60s here, where a black person would just be, killed because they were black. Just
Yeah.
because they saw them. And that's what she was trying to get at. And again, I still think it's wildly inappropriate. but there was a reason behind it, and I get what she was trying to say. She just did it poorly, and it's not just her. You know, you got Joe Rogan, you got all these other things going on. You've got to let people make a mistake, and you got to specifically understand that people, even celebrities, can still learn and be wrong, or else you're going to end up in a world where literally everything they say is scripted because they can't make a mistake, and you're only going to hear what the producers and the writers want you to hear.
No, and I agree. I don't think that she should have been scripted. I think that she should have wrote her own script and
And
thought
I
out her
agree.
words very carefully.
And I agree. And I think her apology was good. I knew where she was going. But it's like the suspension was like a lesson to everybody else. And that's where I think the message is getting lost. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you apologize, we don't care, you're suspended. This is a lesson. We're making an example of you. You don't need to, people. We're human. We have error. We make mistakes. We talk about things.
And it creates a fine line when you do things like that, because eventually it'll get to the point where no one is going to be comfortable speaking about anything, right?
That's what I was looking for, Brandon.
Because if I don't say the right thing, I could be canceled.
Right.
So I'm just not going to talk.
So
I
you're
can't have
afraid.
an opinion, because if my opinion doesn't fit and doesn't make people comfortable, then it's automatically not valid and I'm canceled, right? And it doesn't matter on what topic, but if we keep doing this canceling over silly things like that, where it's, you know, not saying that what she did was silly, but she apologized, she could tell that she fucked up, she knows she fucked up, let it go.
Right. And
If you continue on, it's going to go down
gonna
a very
ripple way
dangerous
beyond
slope.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not going to be about her. It's about what they're doing to people like that to try to set an example. And instead of just saying, you make mistakes, you'll learn.
But
And-
then again, that goes back to ad revenue when it comes to controversy, because
Oh, yeah.
these little topics canceling makes advertisers and things like that tons of money. Controversy, all this stuff. You know, who can we cancel this week? I guarantee there are groups of people that specifically just
I mean,
go
M&M.
through with a fine-tooth comb and try to find somebody fucking up. And go,
M&M is going
who
through
can we
flack for
cancel
kneeling.
this time? Not during a national anthem. Yes, he just kneeled.
Which means it never
just
fucking
kneeled.
mattered about it. Never fucking had anything
Right.
to do with the flag in the fucking first place.
He just kneeled. That's all.
Right.
I didn't even
During
notice he was
Dr.
kneeling for
Dre
anything
song.
I didn't
other
either.
than because he was kneeling. And then I see all these fucking articles about how Eminem's kneeling. I go, so he took a knee while he was performing? Okay.
Right.
Like,
Is
he's
that a big
50,
fucking
right?
deal?
Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and I didn't notice it.
Sometimes
I thought it was
you
a
gotta
great
take a break.
halftime show.
Well,
I thought they all
apparently
did a great
the
job.
NFL told him don't do that,
Not to
and
do
obviously Eminem listens to no one except for himself and Dr. Dre.
As
We
many
all
people
and I
should
heard-
probably do.
I want to say I heard that they told Snoop he couldn't wear a blue bandana, so that's why he came out with what he was wearing.
Good.
Or again,
And,
Or
I
again,
want to get
did
to
they?
Brandon really quick because, first of all, on this topic, before you do this, the confusion between race and ethnicity, that's what I was trying to say. Very well put. Thank you for that, Brandon. That was what happened, and she wasn't fully educated because she felt strongly about the ethnicity portion of it over race, and she didn't say it right. But he also mentioned the Eminem thing, and I didn't actually catch this. He said he kneeled when Dre brought up Tupac. I didn't notice this. I didn't really see when this happened. I just knew he got it. And that's another thing. It was just brought up to be disrespectful because somebody bitched. Some
Right.
fat motherfucker in his basement on fucking Twitter said,
Change steam.
and the
Yeah.
world went nuts.
But that's the problem. We keep talking about this bullshit.
Well,
these
this
little
was news to
things.
me.
Everybody's fuck up, you know.
Well, we're gonna do some more current stuff here because it's good to bring it up. And as you said, everybody's got to have an opinion. And Anthony, you were saying that you're afraid to say what you want because you're going to get canceled, especially being a celebrity. Well, on this show, you're always free to say.
Oh, I'm not
you want.
afraid. You can cancel
You know.
me all you want, big
No,
boy.
you were, as far as celebrity goes, what I'm saying. I'm not going to cancel you
Goodbye.
because you're free to have an opinion. You're free to be a person, and that's what
Well,
we're here for.
In order to be a free-thinking society, you have to risk upsetting somebody, right? In order to have free thought and to move and progress, you have to risk offending.
You have
right?
to.
Because
I mean, not
even
intentionally
if
offend,
you
but you're
ask
right.
a question without trying to offend, if coming from a place of I'm trying to figure this out, but it makes no sense to me, please help me. If they don't like that, you're canceled, right? Or
Right.
you're an asshole for having those thoughts. And so it's a very interesting world that we're living in, where we're getting close to, people having to be careful of what they're thinking,
Yes.
Right.
because you can't.
And I would never want to be in the public eye ever. I would
Too many
never
people have-
want to be
yeah.
a
Oh,
celebrity.
God, no.
Especially
I don't
now.
understand the appeal of it. Like,
I would
why
be
the
a
fuck
horrible
I don't know, in the
celebrity.
80s and 90s.
Yeah,
I
you
would.
would.
I would be canceled day one.
Yeah.
By
That's
me.
Like,
Elena would
sometimes
be
you're
right
just
there.
a cranky
Mm-hmm.
motherfucker, right? It's like
Canceled.
sometimes you just are not in the mood for shit. Can you
Right.
imagine the ability to just not be not a racist asshole, but just an asshole? Like, can you imagine not being allowed to be an asshole anymore?
I would die.
Yeah.
You would die.
Brandon says it takes work from both sides. We need to be comfortable having hard conversations without being disrespectful.
Exactly.
I
That's
agree.
the thing, though. Without being disrespectful, I
But-
feel like a
well,
lot
dis-
of people are like, "I'm
disrespect
just saying
is
how I
different
feel,"
than
and they're
mistakes.
saying it disrespectfully, though. No, I'm
But-
not talking about mistakes. I'm not
Okay.
talking about Whoopi
Okay.
at all. I'm
No, I'm
saying
just
a
saying in
lot of
general.
people will. Yeah, I'm like a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, that's just how I feel," but they're saying how they feel in a very, very, very disrespectful way.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's the fucking problem.
Well, it's also the problem, like Anthony was saying, we got to be able to say and voice our opinions and stuff like that, which we do because the anger you're seeing constantly, whether it be political anger, whether it be cancel culture anger, or whether it be being suspended, whether it be cultural appropriation, trans, anything like that, is because people have built so much up inside, and they've got so much anger of not being able to voice their opinion, of not being able to say anything out of fear, that it builds up and it just becomes angry at everything around them. And that's what we're seeing. Whether Anthony, you've changed. He doesn't care. She doesn't care. She's good. Sorry, didn't mean to offend you.
Because Sadie's never going to be canceled because she's
Right.
a saint.
She's the best.
She is. But we have to work together. We have to try harder, and I think that's one of the things we do here. Everybody is allowed to have an opinion. We don't care what it is, and you're even allowed to somewhat be disrespectful to a point, as long as you're not doing it to actually hurt somebody independently, and as long as you're willing to learn that, hey, I might have done something wrong. I made a mistake, and it is a full moon, and we all only come out during the full
Yeah.
moon. I got to go.
As long
to
as you
work on
don't
that.
double up on your fuck up, then,
Yeah.
we're all human. And that's what everybody needs to remember.
And Anthony turned into a female dog. That's just what he does sometimes.
Sometimes I identify as a bitch.
You can be a bitch,
Sometimes
Anthony. It's
I
allowed.
identify you as a bitch.
That's perfectly fine.
I want to thank everybody for being in here. It's nice to be back for season 3. It's been enjoyable on there. This has been our open forum show, which has just been fantastic and fun. Don't forget, you can always chat live with us as you've been doing. Follow us on Facebook. I got to fix that spelling. I got Factbook. Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I wonder how long that's been on there.
Fact.
I haven't updated this in a long time. That's been on there for a
fact,
long
buddy.
time. Get on Factbook.
Maybe
As
that's
much
why
as you
people
want
can't
right
find
now.
us.
We'll always respond to you live. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe, of course, to Ear Shoulder Voice. And you can also chat anytime to us live. Just go to our Facebook page. You can chat through Messenger. You can go to our website, earshouldervoice.com. You can anonymously message us. We'll talk to you about anything if you choose to. We have several people that do that, and it's very helpful for them, and we want you to be that too. Or you can also be part of the social network on there, where people just want to hear and talk about their own problems and get help from people who are dealing with what they are, because you're not alone in this. Your opinion always matters. Don't let the world right now take that away from you, because the most important thing you can do is be an individual. That's one of the things that this whole show tonight has even centered around, is being an individual. Be prone to err. To err is human. Make mistakes, but learn from them. But never take away being yourself. I don't care if we go to the sexuality, you're straight, gay, transgender, bisexual. I don't care if we go to color, whether you're black, white, mixed, yellow, orange. It doesn't matter. Be yourself. Be happy with who you are, and do not submit to the ways of the world around you that feels like it's trying to bring you down. And I think it's one of the most important things we can learn. But thank you all for being here. Elena, great to have you back. Congratulations on getting married. You are
Thanks.
now
The ring's
Now
pretty too.
tied down. It is a very pretty ring. It is a very
It's very
pretty ring.
sparkly.
Good job, Brandon.
Gabe, thank you for
Oh, I
being
picked it out.
here. Always appreciate you. You're a staple on the shows. We're going to be back Wednesday. We might be back Wednesday, or our topic shows will actually start next Wednesday. We're undecided on that, but we're going to cover autism on that show. We'll have some actual autistic people on here who will talk about the experiences they go through. One of them is actually behind me, and that's who we're talking. He's going to be on one of our shows as well. Let me deal with it. So we'll be back for that show, and we're also going to be have a trans show coming up, as well as several other topics, open forums. We'll cover current events and whatever you want to talk about. Thank you again for being here. Anthony, I'll see you in a bit probably. You all have yourselves a great night. Thank you again for joining us here on Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Take care.
Bye.
Hey guys, Keith Lippin here for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. While you're here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow so you can be notified of all our upcoming broadcasts that we'll be bringing to you live every week. Or head on over to our brand new social network and website, earshouldervoice.com, where you can be notified of all our show schedules, suggest new topics, join others like you in a judgment-free zone, or be a guest panelist yourself. Well, we got everything but Valentine's and Rent, so that's something.
I feel like Anthony's filming a music video
Anthony,
right now.
I think he's high.
No, I'm not.
He's just looking out into space.
No, I'm moving around my house, getting ready to meet you in a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're gonna head out there.
I've seen so many music videos that look just like that.
They took away my button to hide the names. I gotta figure out where it is.
That's some bullshit.
I know. I don't know where it is.
I can't hear you,
Oh, we
Elena.
can't hear. I
What
heard
the
that.
fuck? She says. Nope.
I can lip read.
Nope.
What the?
It looks like you got canceled.
Who's canceled now, bitch?
What? Still
No,
can't
we
hear
still
you.
got
The
nothing.
font's still up there.
Try closing out and joining on your phone.
I think she's already on her phone,
I
but it worked for
don't know.
you.
I just felt like saying it worked for me. I don't know what. I think my laptop hadn't been turned off since the last show,
That could have something to do with it.
so it was probably not very happy with me.
Brandon, it's funny because I can hear her yelling. You think that's bad? I can hear her yelling, and I'm like, 300 miles away or something. I was like, I can hear her.
Oh man.
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, she might be
She
back
said,
from
"Fuck
this.
us.
She's like, fuck you all.
Fuck you guys. You suck."
Well, we're back. Season 3 is officially off, so that's good.
Indeed.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
get back into this. Got some new people. Should be fun.
Good.
Oh, she is here. Kind of. Hi. No.
Nope.
Nope.
I like how she got all slide. She's like, "Can you hear me now?"
All right. She was
We can
like,
read your lips. That's about it. We got. Can you hear me now? And fuck. So bad.
So
bad
bad.
or mad? But mad. You're
Mad.
so mad. Hey, I didn't know I could read lips. Cool.
You can.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. It's total bullshit. All right. Well, thank you guys. We will see you all later. I unfortunately got to get going because I do work tonight. So you guys have a great one. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And we will see you.